We are into our final week of my comic book Christmas calendar, where I've been counting down my favourite issues of 2014. I'm going to change things a little bit just for today, because as a comic book collector, you can't buy everything as much as I'd like to, and so there are those moments where you have to buy the trade, the graphic novel, and much like your DVD box sets, you have a binge read at one of those titles that you wanted to get but just couldn't quite afford or justify that extra $2, $3, $4 pounds a week to buy them. So I'm going to count down, again in no particular order, my top 5 graphic novels that I read in 2014. I pretty much think all of these came out in 2014, but I certainly read them in 2014. As you can probably imagine if you're a follower of my channel, most of these trades are Image Comics. They had hundreds of issue ones this year, so it was just inevitable that some had to be bought in a trade book. So let's kick off with my first choice, which was Jason Aaron's Southern Bastards. When your first page of your first issue is a dog defecating on the side of a highway, you know you're in for a rather unpleasant, visceral, violent, and no doubt challenging read. And I mean that all very positively. We have our two main characters, Earl Tubb, who returns to his hometown after 40 years to pack up his father's belongings and sell off the house. And we also have Euless Boss, a man who actually never left this small southern town. Filled with just as many kind of touching moments as it is scenes of just the worst horrendous violence. But Aaron blazes through the Deep South unapologetically, and well, there's no happily ever afters when you're dealing with Southern Bastards. Manifest Destiny never looked like the kind of book I'd want to pick up. Now, whether this was due to just my ignorance or it was just poor advertising, salesmanship of this book, because when I sort of looked at the covers, I thought this book was just about kind of American settlers, this kind of exploring the American frontiers. But while in part it is that, there is this fantastic kind of horror element to it as well. We have kind of mythical Minotaur type creatures, we have plant virus infested humans, and these gigantic monstrous plants battling against our visiting humans to this American frontier. Gorgeous art by Matthew Roberts and Owen Genie. It just took me by surprise, and I can't wait to pick up volume 2 of this new Image title. My third pick of graphic novels this year was Dead Body Road, written by Justin Jordan. I have to say it was Matteo Scalera's on art that drew me to this book, and I didn't really hear many people talking about it. I remember Sleepy Reader 666 mentioning it a couple of times, but not a great deal from the rest of the comic book community. And what we have here is a revenge story when his cop wife is killed in a kind of botched robbery. Orson goes to hunt down the gang members and deal with them with terminal velocity. It has this kind of Tarantino cinematic reading experience, and Justin Jordan just rarely takes his finger off the trigger in this thrilling action crime story. Pretty Deadly, Volume 1. DeConnick mixing Western and folklore, blurring the lines between parables and a mystery story, and then coupled with Emma Rios and Jordi Belair's art on here. This is a gorgeous but somewhat complex book that certainly demands people reread it. It follows the story of Ginny and her blind protector fox, and I have to say, when I got to the end of this, it felt like I'd read like a lost chapter of The Sandman. It has this mix of kind of supernatural mythology, but wrapping it up in this Western genre. A great mashup kind of story. I don't believe issue 6 is out yet. The story did end seemingly quite abruptly, but I think that's because DeConnick has much more to offer in this kind of Western universe she has created, and it will all tie up together once she gets there. And finally, we have Seconds, a book that I tried so hard not to devour in one sitting, because when it came to the end, I just wanted so much more. It's Brian Lee O'Malley. You probably know him more from his Scott Pilgrim work, but this is a story about Kate, a talented chef with dreams of running her own restaurant. But like most of us, she screws up a lot. But when she's offered the chance to do what is basically a do-over by a kind of mysterious kind of spiritual, supernatural kind of imp type character, she jumps at the chance but basically makes things worse and keeps trying to go back and redo, but nothing ever seems to work out as perfectly as she would like. Again, another hugely character-driven story by O'Malley. Seconds is engaging, it's thoughtful, and at the same time it's a gorgeous mystery story involved in there too. It's basically a book about growing up and accepting the decisions you make in life, whether they're right or wrong. And they were my 5 picks of graphic novels I picked up today. From now on, it's my top 3 books. These were the titles, these were the issues that I enjoyed the most throughout 2014. So hit the subscribe button, don't miss out on those top 3. I've made a playlist of all of these videos. I'll put a link to that in the comment section, in the description bar below. And just enjoy. Have a great Christmas.